A lot of people think that you need to spend thousands of dollars to get professional looking portraits. But what if I told you that's not true? Today we're going to try and build out a full portrait photography kit for less than $500. Let's see if we can actually make this happen. What's up? My name is Jay LeBlanc, wedding photographer and photo video educator. Now, as an educator, I have a lot of new photographers that I work with. And what do new photographers not have a lot of? Money. So today we're going to try and build the best portrait photography kit that we can for less than 500 bucks. We're going to see how far we can make this money stretch to get the most bang for our buck. Just an FYI, in this kit, I am not including a camera and lens. I assume that you already have those. This is strictly lighting gear and stuff that we need to take studio quality portraits. I'm going to show you the gear that I would pick, and much of the gear that I'm going to show you, I use every time that I shoot. And stick around to the end of this video, where I'm going to take all the gear I talk about in this video and actually put it to use to take a picture from this to this. Because we're not just buying shiny things for the sake of it because we like spending money. So let's see if we could build a setup for less than $500 that can actually do a good job. So the very first thing on our list should probably be an obvious one. If we're going to build a portrait lighting kit, what do we first need? A flash. And my recommendation is going to be the Godox 8200. Small, powerful, it is not that expensive, and it is a system that you can grow into. That's a huge point here. The Godox system is massive. They offer so many different types of flashes. So as your experience and needs grow, you'll be able to grow with this system. It's not something that you're going to have to sell off in the future just because you need to upgrade to the next level. Many working professionals are using this system and it can grow right along with you. But this flash is going to take up more than half of our budget, but it's probably the most important part of it. So it's okay. I'm okay with spending money where it's necessary. But maybe if you're also interested in videography, you want to use a video light, something that could pull double duty. That way you can use it on your video shoots and you can use it for your portrait shoots. The only drawback here is going to be most of the cheaper ones have to be plugged into a wall, so they're not great on location, and they're not going to get quite as bright as a flash in the same price range. Sure, you can get more powerful video lights, but you're going to be spending a lot more money than our budget allows. So just keep that in mind. But because we're going photography, I'm recommending we go with the 8200. Next on our list, we need a way of making that light go off. So we have a wireless trigger. This is the Godox R2 Pro. It is one model older than the most current version. The newer version of this is all touchscreen, and I know a lot of photographers that don't actually like it and they're switching back to this model. So this model works great, and you can use this for a very long time. And like I mentioned earlier about the Godox system growing, as you grow and your system grows and your lighting kit grows, that trigger will grow with you because it can trigger multiple lights all within the Godox system. So you don't have to worry about upgrading it or buying something new or different. The next thing that we have on our list is we need to have a place to put our light. So we need a light stand. I'm just gonna let you know right now, there is a huge range of light stands, from little teeny tiny ones that are super lightweight and portable and convenient to big heavy duty C-stands and everything in between. I recommend find something that works with your budget. Don't get the shortest one because you usually want to get your light above your subject. So if you're shooting somebody who's 6'2" and you got to get your light up above their head, you're going to need minimum 7 foot. I would recommend 9. The light stand I linked down below is a 9-foot one. That's probably the smallest I would go when it comes to shooting a person standing up. Personally, I have a wide range of light stands. I think I have 9 different light stands, ranging from little tiny ones that are really good for holding a light on the ground, all the way up to 13 and 15 foot stands that can put my lights in a reception room all the way up to the ceiling. And then C stands, everything in between. But to get started, the one I linked down below is a good starting spot. So don't think too much into it. Just find a light stand that can support the weight of whatever you're trying to lift and that gets high enough for whatever you want to shoot. For the next thing on our list, we're going to need a way of making that light look better. I know right now it's very trendy to just take the flash and point it directly at somebody, but it's not exactly the most flattering. So we're going to need a way of modifying that light source. And that is where softbox comes in. I have mine wrapped up in the bag still, but you're gonna see it in use in just a couple minutes when I show you my behind the scenes video. There's many other types of modifiers out there, from grids, umbrellas. There's tons of different shapes and sizes to softboxes, beauty dishes, barn doors, snoots. There is a huge list, but a good tried and true way of modifying your light for good portraits is a softbox. Good rule of thumb is to get something bigger than what you want to photograph. So if you're going to photograph a person, the one that I linked down below is a great starting spot. I would recommend if you're only doing headshots, maybe you could get away with something a little bit smaller. If you're going to do full body pictures, you might want something even a little bit bigger. Depending on what you're shooting, that's up to you, but I have a good starting spot with that link down below. The next thing on our list, it's a reflector. There's nothing cooler than when you roll up to a photo shoot, you pull out a reflector, give it one of these, makes you feel like a badass every time. A reflector is going to be our best friend for helping soften up some of those shadow sides of the face, especially when we're only working with one light. They're very cheap, very versatile, and they go a long way in a budget-friendly lighting kit. Especially a reflector like this that I linked down below, which is a 5-in-1. So you have your white, you have your gold, and then you can actually take this cover off and reverse it where you have a silver and a black, or you take the cover completely off and you can use it as a shoot through, kind of like a scrim or another softbox. But every photographer should have a reflector. The one I linked down below is a good starting spot for portraits. They come in so many shapes and sizes, with the circular ones being the most common. There's also triangles, there's ovals, there's so many different things you can do. But a good round reflector is a great starting spot. And don't forget, it looks so cool every time that you do it. It's real quick. If you are able to open a reflector and close a reflector without struggling, drop a like down below. Just let me know that you are a baller like that. The real trick to a reflector is learning how to close it. You don't want to be the person that's struggling with one of these in front of a client. So make sure you practice before you get to a shoot. And last but not least, we need a way of attaching the light to the softbox. There's many different systems out there. The most common one is going to be a Bowens mount, and you can get an adapter to put your light right into the back of a Bowens mount softbox, and that's a great starting spot. Personally, I'm a big fan of Magmod products. I'm not sponsored at all. I'm just a big fan of how quick and easy it is to use their products, especially as a wedding photographer. When I need to move very quickly, I can set up a softbox, start taking pictures, break it all down in just a matter of seconds. If the lighting in this video is changing a lot, I apologize because it is crazy windy outside and the sun keeps going in and out of clouds, and just, I need to hang up curtains in here or something to black out the light from the outdoors. That one's on me, my bad. And with everything that I've mentioned so far, that gives us a grand total of not bad, considering we now have a full lighting kit that is pretty versatile. But because we have a little bit of money left over, I'm going to give you some honorable mentions of other things that you might want to add to your kit, depending on what you're shooting. And my last honorable mention is a sneaky one that I still use at almost every church wedding that I shoot. First thing I'm going to mention is clamps. These things go a long way. I left a link down below to some on Amazon. You can get these at Harbor Freight. You can get them at Walmart. You can find them all over the place. They're very inexpensive, but they're extremely useful for hanging up backdrops, for pinning clothing, for just securing things to your light stands. They're very versatile. You never know when you're going to need them, but when you do need them and you have them, you'll be very happy. And they're very cheap. Just pick up a couple in a couple different sizes and you'll be happy that you have them. Notice I didn't say have a backdrop, because I don't know if you're shooting in a studio, you're going to shoot environmental portraits, if you're going to just shoot against the wall in an office or somebody's home. But if you do need a backdrop and you need a cheap one, this is my little secret right here. Go to Walmart, go to Amazon, go to Target, go wherever they sell bed sheets and buy the cheapest white one that you can find. They make a great backdrop. They make a great scrim, a diffuser. They can even almost act as a softbox for you. But they're extremely versatile, and you can get these for like $5, $7, $8. And just having this in your kit goes a long way for whenever you're walking into a situation that you just might need a backdrop or additional diffusion of light. If you're outdoors and there's harsh sunlight, you just want to soften it up a little bit. A nice white sheet goes a long way. And another good option, if you can't find your white bed sheet, would just be a white shower curtain. Most shower curtains do allow some light through them. You can buy a rod and you can hang that shower curtain up in the doorway in somebody's house, and now you have a backdrop. You can buy them in different patterns and designs, and they could act as a nice background for a portrait. Or you can use your clamps to help hold them up. There's a lot of options there, but a shower curtain is another good option of just something cheap that you can add to your kit. Next, we have foam core. I don't have one right now because I actually spilt coffee on mine from the last shoot that I did. So it got stained all yellow and I just threw it out. But foam core is awesome for when you need to either block off light or when you need to bounce light to help with lighting a scene. Especially if you're going to be doing product photography, foam core is awesome. You can find it at craft stores, at Walmart, Amazon, tons of different places. But it's just stiff white board that you can use to bounce light into different places. And if you wanted to, you can even buy it in other colors to help add a little bit of a tint to something, or you can buy it in black if you want to cut light off of a certain area of your picture. Next up would be some colored gels. It almost looks like saran wrap, but they're different colors. If you want to modify your light to be different colors, you can get creative with greens and blues and pinks and purples and reds. Or maybe you could just get color correcting gels where our lights are set to daylight balance. And maybe we're taking pictures outdoors when it is sunrise and the light is very blue. And we want to match that. Well, we need a gel to help take our light from that daylight balance to that more of a blue color. So gels can come in handy when trying to do that. And maybe we want to shoot indoors and we want to match the ambience of indoor lighting, which is usually very warm. Well, we could take another gel, usually a CTO, color temperature orange. We could take that and put that over our light to help match the ambience of the room. That way, the difference between our light and the ambient light isn't some crazy drastic difference. So having some gels just stuffed in your bag to modify your light whenever you walk into different situations is a nice little touch. Another option would be buying a grid for our softbox. Softboxes throw a lot of light in a lot of different directions. It's kind of the nature of a softbox where they bounce light around inside the box and then it shines onto you, just like the one that's shining onto me right now. And it's kind of lighting up the background behind me. That's okay. That's what I want. Well, if you want more control over your light, you put a grid on your softbox. And this allows you to focus that light onto a more specific area opposed to just throwing light all over the room. And my last honorable mention, super underrated. I don't know why more photographers don't use them still, but an umbrella. I find these to be so quick and easy to use, especially as a wedding photographer when I'm shooting in a church. And one second I have 2 people in front of my camera and the next second I have 30. Well, they're great at just throwing a lot of light in a lot of different directions and making a scene look decent. They're not ideal for a portrait session, but they can give you some nice soft lighting and they're very easy to pack and take places with you because of how small they break down. And those are my honorable mentions. Now let's take the gear that I mentioned in this video and actually put it to use. Okay, so for our lighting demo, I am not going to go into much detail about how I shot it. I'm just showing you the gear in use. If you are interested in me doing a full video on how I go about getting this shot, drop a comment down below. And if there's enough interest, I'll gladly do that for you. But for today, all I'm showing you is we got our trigger, we have our softbox over here. I grabbed my mag box just because I'm way too lazy to set up my other softboxes. They just take too long. This is a 22-inch Octa softbox, and it's a good size for headshots. Honestly, I prefer a little bit bigger, but for just speed and ease of use, I love it. It's perfect. Up above that, we got our AD200 on our light stand. And then on the other side of her, we have our reflector, which is actually being held onto a chair with those clamps that I was telling you about earlier. And that's it. It's that simple. So here's a shot with just the ambient light in the room. If I was gonna take a shot with my cell phone, this is what it would look like. And here's the result. It looks okay. Sure, the light's nice and soft because I have a lot of windows open right now and there's a lot of light coming in here. But what if we want to control the light? Or what if it's nighttime? Here is what happens when we turn our lights on. And all of that just from one light. It's super easy. It's a great way to get started in headshots. So if you're thinking about maybe starting a portrait lighting kit, it's a pretty good starting spot. And as a little bonus, I brought along my secret weapon with me. I brought the umbrella. Now just keep in mind that an umbrella is gonna throw light everywhere. It's not as controlled as a softbox, especially a softbox with a grid, but it's a really good starting spot to get some nice soft lighting. And there it is. I mean, for a $20 piece of gear to soften your light, it's pretty versatile. And as you can see, it doesn't take much. I am in my dining room right now doing this shot. I have maybe 4 feet, I can reach my hand out and give her a high five. I'm that close to her. And we have maybe 5 feet wide of space and 7 feet deep. That's all we need to go into somebody's house and do a nice picture. And I'm shooting against the wall. Sure, there's 2 different colors, but because it's a solid color, it's gonna be super easy to just, in Photoshop, take that out and put whatever background I want. I do headshots in people's homes all the time, and I say, if you have a blank wall, that even if there's pictures hanging on the wall, we can take those pictures off the wall, and it's 3 feet wide, that's all I need. Because it's that simple to remove a person from the background. Like I said, if you wanna see how I set this all up, all the settings, why I put things where I did, and more information about all this, drop a comment down below, and if there's enough interest, I'll make that video for you. Well, there you have it. That is how I would take $500 to build a lighting kit to create pretty good portraits. And I will tell you, when I first started my photography journey, this exact kit was booking me headshots all the time. I was able to just take this kit, very simple, go to locations, people's homes, parks, whatever it was, and shoot decent headshots for people. And the money I was making from headshots allowed me to build this kit up and buy more and better gear. Hopefully this video helped out somebody out there. If you're an aspiring portrait photographer or you just want to build a studio lighting kit, but you're on a tight budget, this is a great place to start. Don't forget, all the links are down below. And if you have any questions about any of the gear, maybe you want to see a different version of it, or you want a better option, let me know. Drop a comment down below and I'll be happy to help you out. And until next time, peace.